The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. The apostles said to the Lord, "Increase our faith." The Lord replied, "If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you would say to this mulberry tree, 'Be uprooted and planted in the sea,' and it would obey you. Who among you would say to your servant who has just come in from plowing or tending sheep in the field, 'Come here immediately and take your place at table'? Would he not rather say to him, 'Prepare something for me to eat. Put on your apron and wait on me while I eat and drink. You may eat and drink when I am finished'? Is he grateful to that servant because he did what was commanded? So should it be with you. When you have done all that you have been commanded, say, 'We are unprofitable servants. We have done what we were obliged to do.'" The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Let's begin by acknowledging the blue blur over here. The Awakening Retreat was here this weekend. We had a wonderful number of staff and retreatants alike who have been here in this place all weekend, listening to talks from their fellow students, having times for prayer. A big thank you, of course, especially to those who were so instrumental in organizing everything, the rectors, the other organizers, all the staff. And thank you to all those who came as retreatants. It's a generosity of spirit to come into something that is new and unique. And the Lord will bless you and reward you for that. Bishop texted me this morning to make sure to remind you that he's been praying for you all weekend. He just wanted to make sure that I said that to you. So thank you all again, and it's so good to have you all here with us. In our first reading, we get the somewhat fundamental cry of the human heart, especially one who believes in God, where the prophet says, "How long, O Lord? How long? I cry for help, but you do not listen. I cry out to you violence, you do not intervene." There's a fundamental angst in the heart when it sees evil, whether it's, in the prophet's case, evil being done to itself and to its community and to its people. The prophet about to see his own people be not just killed and starved, but eventually be exiled and taken out of their own land. The temple itself to be destroyed. All good things in the world seeming to come to an end for the very people who are supposedly been chosen by God. And this is happening to them. Also, when one looks around and sees the evil in the world, there are a great many evils. One could argue that I think we probably see too many of them. But that's not something I have the capacity to fix. But the human heart cries out against this, and I think rightly so. Evil is difficult and scandalous to see. In fact, one of the main reasons, and I think honestly probably the best reason, to not believe in God, at least in God as Christians present him, is precisely this problem. Precisely the problem that there is evil in the world, that there is so much of it. The most basic argument against God's existence is to say, you say that your God is all good and all powerful, and yet there is evil in the world. Therefore, your God is either not all good, or not all powerful, or doesn't exist. It's the most fundamental argument. But even for one who still believes, the sight of all the evil can be choking. How long, O Lord? Again, whether it's evil being done against oneself and one's loved ones, or evil we see across the world. This is a test to one's faith. It's a challenge. It's very, very hard. And yet, in a way, the scriptures have told us from the very beginning that this is how it would be. The first few chapters of Genesis literally are there to explain to us how we got into this mess, how the whole world is the way it is. God set up all things good, and then it went horrible because of the choice of human beings. The exact same thing that continues today. The scriptures begin with pride, an act of such pride that goodness itself is rejected and selfishness is chosen. Then immediately, a single sentence later, you have collusion and temptation, where now Eve is the one tempting her husband. You immediately have lying and scapegoating as they lie to God and then blame each other. You have envy, wrath, and murder come out one chapter later. All these things, humanity just immediately starts to just fall apart. And why? It's because of the evil in their hearts. And the scriptures are so clear about it. It says exactly why it is. But God promises from the very beginning that he's going to set all things right. He's going to set all things right. And he does wonders. He does wonderful, amazing things. But the evil somehow still continues. Every time a people is just finally taken out from underneath oppression, it only takes a few generations for the evil to rise to the top again. The whole human history, the evil always rise to the top. They always come into power. It happens again and again and again. And so he shows wonders, and then bad stuff happens again. And again, the prophet and every single believer has to say, how long? And even if one isn't so scandalized that they cease to believe, they still ask him, I think very reasonably, Lord, how long? When our Lord Jesus comes, he comes making the exact same promises that he does in the Old Testament. God comes saying the same things, which is basically, I have absolute providence over all things. I can make all things well, and I will do it. He does wonders. It's like in the Old Testament. He does wonderful, amazing things. He raises people from the dead. He feeds the hungry. He proclaims good news to captives. He does all these good things. The evil continues. Then he does something amazing. Instead of just leaving and saying, trust me, guys, and leaving, the Lord decides to undergo all of it himself. He lets the world pour out the worst that it has, to pour out all of its wrath and all of its envy and pride and hatred. It pours out onto him. He takes all of it in, lets them pour the whole cup out of anger and wrath into him, and he takes it. And he dies. And seemingly, all of God's promises are pointless. The anointed one is dead. He rises from the dead. And beyond all hope and beyond all possibility, God raises him from the dead and again speaks to the world and says, I will bring good out of evil. I will not just restore the world to be good again, I'm going to bring it forever beyond evil. I'm not just going to raise the dead, I'm going to bring them to an entirely new life, forever beyond death, forever beyond suffering, forever beyond loss. I'm not just going to fix the world, I'm going to create a new world. One could well try to disagree with the way that God has chosen to do things. One could say, Lord, I don't like it. I don't like that your way of curing evil is to go through it and suffer it, and only then to redeem us, to bring things to a greater place than they would have been before. I don't like that you do it that way. I don't like, God, that you choose to allow an evil so you can bring about a greater good. How long? And even if I can put up with you doing it, how long do I have to put up with you doing it? How long, O Lord? One could very much look around them and say, there is too much evil. But then one could simply respond, how much did you expect there would be? Given the fact that human beings are what we are, given the evil that lives in my own heart, how much evil did you think there would be? Less? More? Given what human beings are capable of? Anyone who does not think they are capable of great evil needs to grow up. They too, every human person, is capable of great evil. And so we see it play out. And as I said, I think maybe we see too much of it. That's a whole other conversation. I don't think we as human beings evolved to see as much evil as we see. And I don't know what the cure is for that. So what is the believer to do? What is the believer to do? I mean, we can intellectually understand why the evil's there, but I mean, does that really fix the problem? It's a problem of the heart, not the mind. The mind can read the scriptures and say, okay, yes, I get it, I understand. I understand that the way that God is going to do things is he's going to, just like he did in his own body, he's going to do in his people. He's going to take in all that the world has to pour out. He's going to take it and he's going to die and he's going to rise from the dead. Forever beyond it. That's the plan for every single one of us, is to take it in. Not all of us will have the same level of suffering, but all of us will eventually have death, the final nail in the coffin of suffering. We'll take it in and we will rise forever beyond it. What is one to do for now? In one way, I think they cry out as the prophet does. How long? He told us to keep praying for the needs that we see. He told us to beg for his mercy, to come down on difficult things. He told us to pray. It isn't enough for the Christian to say, intellectually, I understand it, so we'll just keep going on with life. No, not really. That's probably a little inhuman. Instead, I think the Lord wants the scandal of evil to surgically drive the Christian into his heart. Somehow the Christian, even by witnessing evil around them, somehow begins to have the pain and the sorrow, and they begin to be somehow pulled into the very heart of God. Drive us into his arms and into his heart. They drive us to prayer. So often our negative emotions drive us away from prayer, which is the silliest thing in the world that we could possibly do. Our negative emotions should be driving us towards prayer and towards community. But we don't generally do that. Driving us into God's heart. Then he alone, and no one else, can give something of an answer that can comfort the heart. For who else can? He gave us the sign of his cross as the image of his plan and his willingness to go through it himself and all. But he also gives each of us, if we pay attention, little signs in our own life. We see little evils that we accepted in his name and we offered up. We see little ways that he brings good from it. We hold on to those as little signs of the big plan that he has in mind. We're not going to see the big plan solved. Not now, unless the Lord returns, which he could. Today as likely as any other. But more likely not, if you want to play a numbers game, you're not going to see it until you die. So we take those little things, those little signs, those little answers to prayers, those little ways that we see that thing that I thought was awful, God has somehow in fact brought a blessing out of. We hold on to that. And finally, we do good acts where we can. If there's a balancing game to be played by looking around the world and saying, is there more evil than good? Then perhaps one ought to be doing something at least to help balance the scales. Christians should do good in response to the pain, the suffering that they see, even if it's something that they can do nothing about. I see the horrible neighbors murdering neighbors in the Congo, and there's nothing really I can do for that. I'm assigned here. I can pray. But I could allow the pain of seeing that to at least drive me to do some good for the person in front of me. If I can sort of judo turn that pain from there to here, that'll be worth it. Be worth doing. One can at least do good where they see. In all of this, the Christian never shies away from knowing that there is in fact evil in the world. It's a very foolish thing to simply put one's head in the sand. It ain't going to work anyways. You're not going to be able to. It's going to follow us wherever we go. But it does belong to the Christian to come to God with these questions, to come to prayer, to enter into the great silence of prayer with the questions, to ask the only one who has an answer, which is the Lord. He's the only one. By doing this, one grows closer to him, and they are pulled into his heart, and they become like God. So, while we never quit praying that justice will come and goodness may abound, the Christian ought not be surprised. They instead ought to pray and to do good and to grow in love.